Mighty have fallen. Rest in peace, Hutch. What's going on, everybody? It's your boy BlancOnline, here today to chat to you more about some skill-based matchmaking. Obviously, we all know what skill-based matchmaking is. We know that Vanguard's gonna have similar skill-based matchmaking to Cold War, and there's been a little debate on Twitter in the past couple of hours between Hutch and a bunch of OGs and a bunch of different people within the Call of Duty community as well. Now, if you don't know who Hutch is, you're probably a Modern Warfare 2019 sort of casual new guy, but if you were there back in the day, you know all about Hutch, all about C9ers, Machinima, that whole scene, the start, the beautiful beginnings of Call of Duty here on YouTube, and Hutch has been here for that. I think now he does streams, and I think he still does Call of Duty, I want to say that, but I'm not too sure. I haven't really kept up with him, but this is sort of brought to my attention because as an OG, he said some questionable things. I'm gonna go through the tweets. I'm gonna go through his first tweet. It's on my screen if I'm looking down, that's why I'm looking down. I'm gonna read you guys what he said, his sort of follow-ups from what he said, and then I'm gonna also read to you guys some replies from people sort of flaming the dude on Twitter. But let's start. So Hutch sort of starts by saying this: actually, skill-based matchmaking is a good thing, and the people who hate it are mostly content creators looking for easy gameplays. He follows this by saying, when people say I just want a playlist where I can chill with my friends and not sweat, what they're actually saying is I want a playlist with my friends and I can mercilessly and brutally on terrible players for hours on end. He also sort of backs up the fact that skill-based matchmaking is good by showing the fact that Cold War had really good numbers. It's top selling in industry, and it's all that sort of stuff, so it's making a lot of money. And he basically is just quote replying a bunch of different things and all this sort of stuff. A lot of people chimed in, people like Charlie Intel, Modern Warzone, like a bunch of these guys chimed in to this. So, okay, I first want to sort of read everyone else's replies, and then I'll do my reply to this after I read everyone else's. So one of the biggest replies that we got to this, well, obviously we got to talk about the man Blame Truth, and this wasn't even in like response to this, right? In response to this sort of tweet. He's posted this 4 days ago, but 4 days ago he said this: it's so easy to exploit skill-based matchmaking in its current state. Advocating for it to be toned down would actually make the game harder for me. The "you want easy lobbies" crowd are too dense to understand this. With the current flawed system, I can have easy lobbies 24/7. This is exactly it. If you guys have watched my video where I talked about how I returned to Cold War, you know that in order to enjoy Cold War, I reverse boosted, and it's not hard to reverse boost, but we'll proceed. Another person, if you guys are an OG, you'll know exactly who this is. Sandy Ravage. You know exactly who this man is if you're an OG in Call of Duty. And I'm going to sort of read this sort of thread that went on here. Sandy Ravage says, come on Hutch, it's not on their account. You pay people to do it and join on them. Been going on for years and it's not hidden. He's obviously talking about reverse boosting and that sort of stuff. And he's right, it has been going on for years. This is not like reverse boosting is not something that has been just started now with the strict skill-based matchmaking. It's been going on for ages. It's just been harder back in the day. Hutch then replies, this is such a hyper-specific occurrence that it's barely relevant. Most creators are not doing this, and most creators would not alternatively prefer if they just got rid of skill-based matchmaking altogether. Isn't that interesting? I'll talk about that later. And then Sandy Ravage says, you didn't even know this method existed 2 minutes ago. If there's a way to take advantage of a system and make money at the same time, you better believe more people that do it than you think. That's kind of it, isn't it? And then the final one I want to talk about here is from Tom Henderson. Now, obviously, Tom Henderson, a massive leaker, someone that I use on a regular basis to cover leaks and that sort of stuff regarding Warzone and Vanguard and that sort of stuff. But let's read his replies. His reply is, actually, what made COD fun was the diversity of players you would encounter in different matches, and even more so when you play with your friends. One match you could shit on a team of noobs and get a nuke or high kill streaks, and the next match you might win, need to try hard with really good communication for the win, which is what makes past COD's fun. It isn't on noobs, it's the diversity of players you would come up against and not facing noobs 24/7. Crushing noobs isn't a bad thing. Everyone who is still playing COD got smacked around when we first played, but we're still here. Eventually, we learned, got better, and came against noobs ourselves, and the cycle continues. Just to add, because this seems to be a key factor in your argument, player retention and earnings have improved year after year, correct. But that's not down to skill-based matchmaking. That's down to the change in monetization models, correct. Overall growth in the gaming market, correct. And Warzone being free to play, again, correct. Hutch, the second you get good players, you want to quit. One of the best things about Modern Warfare 3 was clan wars. Pub stomping during the week with your friends and then trying hard against clans on the weekend was one of the best aspects of that game. Again, correct. Now that you've heard the opinions of a bunch of people and a bunch of different OGs and a bunch of different people within the community, I'm gonna give you guys my thoughts, and I would love to hear your thoughts in the comment section down below. Before I get into that, one thing that I did notice, and one thing that I think is pretty interesting, Hutch is a COD partner. He has a code that you can use in the store. So let me just put that out there into the world. Let that resonate with you, and then we'll talk about why he's wrong. And this breaks my heart to say, because as an OG Hutch, I've watched so many Hutch videos, especially growing up, and especially as I started getting into Call of Duty, trying to learn how to play Call of Duty from him and all that sort of stuff. So it's a little tough for me to sort of come at him in this sort of way. Hutch has notoriously been known for being uber positive about Call of Duty, whether that be because he genuinely believes that, or whether that be for a monetary sense so that he can get like sponsorships and COD codes and all that sort of stuff. He's been notorious for being very positive. This is one of those things where he says something and he goes to the grave for it, even when he knows he's wrong, or even when there's valid arguments to prove that he is wrong. He may not at the time of thinking and tweeting this think he was wrong, but as people sort of replied and laid it out to him, maybe he realizes the errors of his ways, but he's just too prideful to say, okay, I was wrong on this one, I'll take that L, that's on me. Which, if he said that, would be fair enough, but this is the problem with skill-based matchmaking. As a good player, and I wouldn't even call myself a good player, I would call myself an average player. Like, I would say I'm better than the casual, but not as good as like the crazy whatever players, like CDL players and that sort of stuff. I've been playing Call of Duty since Modern Warfare 2. The first gun that I used in Modern Warfare 2 that I thought was a good gun was a Scar H with a thermal sight. I was getting dookied on every single match because I used a thermal scope on a Scar H. But I got better. And I like what was said by Tom Henderson, where he says the cycle continues. You are bad at the game, then you get good at the game, and then you trounce on people that are worse at the game than you. And I also like what a lot of people in the replies are saying about it's not about facing noobs 24/7, it's about having a mix. And that's correct, it's all about having a mix. Not one time have I said on this channel that I want skill-based matchmaking to be removed because I want to be trouncing on noobs 24/7. Every single time I talk about skill-based matchmaking, I talk about wanting a mix and I talk about wanting a good connection. What Hutch fails to sort of say here is that skill-based matchmaking makes connection worse, because the game is fundamentally looking for ways to match you up against players of the same skill level, and if it can't find that with a good connection, it'll just put you with the good players anyway, and then sacrifice connection for that. That's wrong. That shouldn't be something in a multiplayer shooter, and I think a couple people within the replies here have said that as well. It's about connection, it's about fighting lobbies, and people are correct. If Hutch thinks that the game numbers are so good, why has Call of Duty not shown their game numbers since, I think COD Ghost was the last one, and notoriously the Call of Duty after Advanced Warfare was the game where we got sort of stricter skill-based matchmaking. So that's telling you something as well. And what's also telling you something is how long it takes for you to get into a game of Cold War. For example, Cold War takes probably, for me, about 10 minutes to find a game. And that is not me reverse boosting, that is just me going fresh in and just sort of finding a game. Say for example I reverse boosted, it takes me maybe 1 to 2 minutes to find a game. That is advocating to you that the majority of people that are playing Call of Duty Cold War right now are casual people or bad players, because they're being put in lobbies with other bad players, therefore making them feel like a god, therefore making them want to continue playing the game. If a system like this is so exploitable, and if someone like me can go into their lobbies that easily, isn't the system flawed in the first place? Isn't the system that Hutch is saying that content creators and good players want to be removed because they want to trounce on noobs? I don't think that's the case. And I don't think the case is that only content creators want this to be gone. I think a majority of people, a lot of people, hell, even casual fans to a certain extent, want this to be gone because it can be exploited. There's nothing stopping a Korean savage from reverse boosting to the point where he just trounces on some disabled gamer, which is something that actually happened, and we covered it about a year ago within Modern Warfare. So, and there's nothing stopping that. All of these gameplay YouTubers you see, all of these people like Korean Savage or whoever are reverse boosting. And that is something that is not frowned upon because the system in place is so easily exploitable. Say for example, it was back in the day. And they were reverse boosting back in the day. It was so reverse boosting back in the old Call of Duties were harder to do. It was harder to do. And skill-based matchmaking has been in Call of Duty for as long as, I think, for as long as you can remember. It just hasn't been as extreme as it is right now because reverse boosting was there back in the day. It was there. Boosting in general was there back in the day, and it was just harder to do it. Right now, it's so easy to do it because there's so many different ways of doing it. You could, there's a different, I'll name you 3 right now. 3 different ways for you to reverse boost. First way is the way that I did it, is I just either did really bad in the lobbies and I purposely just run into people who try to die and just you have really bad games so I can have a couple of good games. Or second of all, you can just leave. You can just play a little bit, like play a minute at the start of the game, leave, and then do that continuously until you find a good game. And then the third one, which is the most likely one that people do, is session joining. Have 2 accounts. Have your main account, have a bot account, and then session join on the bot account, and then you can have good lobbies. That's the problem. Isn't the problem going through all of these extremes just to have a decent game of Call of Duty? Just to have some fun while playing Call of Duty? And I don't think Hutch understands that. I don't think Hutch understands the fact that coming up against people who are of your same skill level every single game doesn't help Call of Duty. It doesn't make Call of Duty fun. And he's saying he's doing it for the casuals who can't spend 99% of their time on Call of Duty. I don't spend 99% of my time on Call of Duty. And I don't think a lot of the content creators do that either because the game is not fun to play because of skill-based matchmaking. I mean a variety of different factors, but skill-based matchmaking is the biggest one. So it's not because we can't spend time on Call of Duty. I want to spend time on Call of Duty. I want to spend every single time that I'm free to play a video game to play Call of Duty. But that's just not the case. Because skill-based matchmaking not only means that I have to wait 10 minutes in between games, but it also means that I have to come up against uber sweaty nerds that think they're the next greatest thing in CDL. And that's the problem. Hutch is saying he's protecting the casuals. I'm doing this for the casuals. I'm bearing the cross for the casuals. All you're doing is making yourself look like a dickhead. And it's unfortunate to say that, but it's true. Skill-based matchmaking hurts the player base. Skill-based matchmaking turns people away from playing Call of Duty. Skill-based matchmaking is meant to make people want to play Call of Duty, but all it's doing is protecting a small cesspool of people who are bad at the game because Call of Duty wants their money from their mom and dad's credit cards so that you, Hutch, can have your code used in the COD store so you can get a little bit of a bounce back for when they buy their $30 anime titty skin pack bundles. And that is what's wrong with skill-based matchmaking. But that's all I have to say. Let me know what you guys think. Leave a like if you enjoyed it. Comment down below. What do you think on this whole topic? Obviously, I know a lot of the people here on this channel are not in favor of skill-based matchmaking, but I want to know what you guys think about Hutch and sort of what he thinks about it, and then sort of give me your arguments to Hutch as well in the comment section down below. Click subscribe if you're new here so you don't miss out on my next video. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.
Me and Lil J, we Scotty MJ. Bashing the rock, we hitting the fade. Pull up in a whip with 21 bays. Here come the bastards, 21 days. Gun you boy, I know he's a waste. Baby, I know that you want a little taste. I know you want all the bass in your face. Brand new bag and brand new nails. Me and Lil J, we Scotty MJ. Bashing the rock, we hitting the fade. Pull up in a whip with 21 bays. Here come the bastards, 21 days.